I started filming in public, and here's what actually happened. Welcome to episode 2 of my Discomfort series, where I will be talking about filming in public without apologizing. First off, I just want to talk about why it's scary to me and why it felt embarrassing to film in public and be used to talking or filming myself in front of a crowd or in front of anybody, strangers basically. Like everyone else, it just feels awkward, and pulling out a tripod that's like however feet long so I can get the perfect angle is not exactly being on the down low when it comes to filming, and that's kind of part of it. And people that are in social media and create content, like, they're so used to it, and kudos to them, because I'm striving to be that way and I'm trying my best to do better at filming myself in public. And yeah, that's like the main thing for me, is just being insecure and having people see me pull out my gear and making it so obvious that I'm like filming myself. Another thing was, and this hasn't happened thankfully, but another thing that I'm scared about when I'm filming is like someone coming up to me and getting mad that I'm recording them, or I'm recording myself, but they so happen to be in the background and they're just like, I don't want my face on this camera. And it's like, that wasn't my intention. So that's like a rational/irrational fear that I have of someone just coming up to me and being like, yo, I don't like this. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But it hasn't happened, thank goodness. I'm gonna knock on wood, because just in case. But yeah, that was one of the other things that would make me feel nervous and embarrassed to even like take out my phone for any reason, and just for like making content. And then another thing that made me feel embarrassed was the thought of like the entitlement and like being conceited and like, oh, she's so into herself. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about next, is what I was assuming strangers were thinking and then what actually happened. So what I normally assume is, when people are looking at me, because they do stare, it's not like no one looks at me when I'm recording, unless it's like a small camera and I literally hide my camera phone just in like the corner and they don't notice. But most times people notice. And when they do, I instantly just start thinking like, oh my God, they're judging me in a negative way. And they're probably thinking like, oh my God, she's so into herself, or, oh, she's so weird because she wants to be on camera, or, oh, she's like a content creator. Oh, that's weird. Like, she's an influencer. Ew. Like, for me, I don't know why. I just assume that because I think that's just how people perceive people who take a ton of video, a ton of film, and whatever, and they're not really thinking about like what they're working on. That's my thought of when people are looking at me, and I'm just assuming what they're thinking rather than knowing exactly what they're saying to themselves about me. So that's one of the things that I think about, besides, the embarrassment of taking out my tripod. But the other piece to that is when I first pressed record anyway, and what happened. So I want to say I've been new to vlogging on YouTube, and I've only done this for maybe a year or two consistently. And consistently for me is probably like once a month. But I originally started YouTube as a singer, and I would just make singing videos, which was easy because I'm by myself in my room and I'm just singing to the camera and I'm not singing to a crowd or anything. So being in front of the camera was fine, but I think being out in public was just harder because people actually can see me and I can see them see me. And and what happened was, when the first moment that I pressed record and vlogged something, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was like a snowshoeing thing that I did with a friend or like a camping trip that I did, those were more, they weren't as talkative vlogs. I would say like maybe the snowshoeing was a bit more talkative in front of the camera, but I think it felt comfortable because I was with a friend and I told her I wanted to video it and I thought it would be really cool. And I'm so glad I did because looking back at it, I just feel so much nostalgia when I watch my old videos. And yeah, when I did those things, looking back, I don't think anyone really paid attention. And there wasn't a whole lot of like talking in those videos. It was more of just like taking video shots and like, I don't even know. I tried to do like cinematic shots with my iPhone and whatever, and then put like music over it. But yeah, no one really paid attention to that because, everyone uses their phone to take pictures and whatever and videos. So I don't think anyone really cared. And this was probably like 5 years ago. So I don't think it was that big of a deal back then. So that happened. And yeah, I don't think it was ever a big deal. And people kind of just went on with their lives. And I don't know why. I think I just kept on continuing. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, was because what actually happened was versus what my fear was. And this kind of goes on to what I wanted to talk about, is what my fear was versus what actually happened. And for example, I thought people would care, but in the end, no one did. No one cares. I've had people literally look straight at the camera, walk by it, and then go on with their lives. And that's it. And that's honestly, it's simple as that. And another thing that I was afraid of was, I thought someone would walk over and stop me if they, didn't want their identity exposed, or they don't want to be on camera, or they don't want their face to be on camera. And I think because our cameras or everything is like facial recognition, I think people have definitely like died down from that. And now I think they just stare out of curiosity, and then that's it. That's kind of the same as the first one, where like people don't really care. And then another fear that I had was like, oh, I thought I would look awkward. But now looking back, it's like there are moments where you do feel awkward because, oh, if like the lighting's wrong or the angle's like not great, then it's like you're just rummaging around trying to fix the dang lighting and the angle and whatever. So it does feel a little awkward in the moment, but then once you're doing it, I kind of just like make it more natural, make it look like I'm, living my life, and then I'm like documenting myself on the side. So now I think I'm just used to it and more comfortable, and that kind of goes into like why this visibility or why this documentation of me visually is necessary for my goals personally. And I wanted to go into that because this helped reframe my mindset for these things. So because I'm more comfortable in front of the camera, I can be comfortable making YouTube videos or modeling or taking photos, because I really do enjoy those things and creating content. So it really gets better and more comfortable as I do it. So the more reps I do, the better I get at it. And that's that for that one. And then it allows me to, and I said this already, but it allows me to look back at my progress. For example, like if I'm filming myself, I don't know, going on a run or lifting. I think lifting especially, because I think I've probably seen more progress there than running, because running can't really see that much unless you track it, which is on Strava. So I use Strava to like track my goals there. But it's really cool to look back at where I was, where I started, and then where I am now. And like, even though I feel like I'm in a good place right now, I can look back at it in the future and be like, wow, like I did those things and this is where I'm at now, basically. Like just giving myself either like that dose of dopamine or nostalgia to remind myself like why I do the things that I do. And yeah, and it just allows me to progress and get better, essentially. I think in both ways, really. It's like I get better at knowing how to film myself, and then I also get better at my goals at the same time, because I kind of just prop up my camera and I kind of just do whatever I feel like it. And then I just cut the dull parts, and then just post, the most important parts of the video that people really care about. So the way this has reframed my mindset, and I laugh at this because this one time my husband and I went on a backpacking trip with a few friends, and the whole time he was talking about mindset, and I'll never let him down for this because I think it's hilarious, but he would just kept on saying like, you see, like when you like lay in the sand, it like really changes your mindset. Like he would keep on like saying stuff. And he wasn't wrong, but it was just funny that he was just stating it. And it was like, yeah, yeah, it does change your mindset. Like, oh, like when you run out of water, it changes your mindset. Like, uh-huh. So it's funny because I actually use it now, and he's probably gonna be like, haha, you use it. So it's not as silly anymore. But one thing that helped me reframe my mindset of being afraid of being on camera was, this one is a good example for my phone exactly, because if I take video or photos with my phone, I pretend, if it's a video and I'm talking to it, I pretend like I'm on FaceTime with someone or I'm sending them a video, because technically I am. I am going to send someone this video. You guys, really. I'm going to just be real, because if I'm looking at my phone and then I'm like trying to make sure no one's around and then be like, oh, talking and then like awkward, whatever, then it makes it obvious. But if I just talk to it like I'm on FaceTime, which it normally happens if you're on FaceTime, you're on your phone, no one cares. They'll be like, oh, she's just talking to someone on her phone. And that will make it more natural looking, especially for you guys, so that I'm actually like talking to you guys and not being like a robot and being like, hi, today is this, blah, 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 rather than that, and then just having a conversation. So I think of it as having a conversation with my phone or with someone on my phone, because that helps reframe that I'm not just talking to myself. Another one would be for workouts. I think of them as like highlights. I don't know if you've seen like football highlights, soccer highlights, basketball highlights of like when they score or during a play or like whatever. I think of these as my highlights of my training, and use them to see how I did and if my form was good. And you have to get a good angle for it, because if you get a front facing angle and I want to see my squat depth, I'm not gonna be able to see anything. I mean, maybe if I'm really looking at, depth from the front, it's better to look at from the side. So that's kind of how I think about it. So then if like someone comes over and it's like, oh, what are you recording? I'm like, oh, I'm just checking my form. Haha. And then rather than saying like, oh, I'm making a YouTube video, I mean, I could do that. So then I can market my YouTube video. But most times I am checking my form to see if it's good, and I'm not, because normally if I go heavy on something and during a workout, I want to check my form, because sometimes, when you go heavy, your form is completely off, and then that leads to injuries, and we don't want that. We don't want any of that. So that's one of the things that I do, and that's how I reframe my mindset for that. Another way that I've reframed my mindset was I practiced doing it scared or out of the box, meaning I just got the reps in. I just got those reps in of recording myself consistently, because a lot of the times what I would do is just landscape shots and just B-roll, whatever, and I'm not in it. And lately I've been really honing in on taking videos of myself while trying to be in the moment, which is really tough. But that has helped me, because that has helped me be more comfortable, essentially. So in my head, I'll just be like, well, I need to do this because I need more reps of recording myself. So that's the other ways I like to reframe my mindset. And if I practice doing it scared, then I'll get used to it and I'll get better at it. And that kind of leads to another episode that I'll be talking about after this episode, which will be called How Movement Taught Me About Showing Up Scared. And if you want to check that out, feel free to like and subscribe. But this is really the end of the video. Sorry if I rambled a little bit. Today has been kind of crazy. I did not eat that much today because I've just been doing errands. But yeah, So that's pretty much the end of this video. I appreciate you guys for joining me on this journey and working on things that make me uncomfortable. And if you really enjoyed this series or you really enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe or comment below and let me know, because I would like to either continue these or just move on to the next thing. And I just want to provide knowledge that I have and then just provide my experiences online, because I just think maybe they will be valuable to one person, and that's all I care about. And if not, then it's just me looking back at videos of myself, which also brings me joy. So thanks again. Appreciate you guys, and see you in the next one. Bye.